Hello, happy crafters. Welcome back. I've decided to do a little tutorial of something that I am just obsessed with making. So let's talk about tags. Scrapbooking's been around for a really, really long time. People save things, mementos. You don't just want a book, right? You like interactive things that you can move in and out of your journals. And so tags have always been, a go-to for journalers or scrapbookers or whatever altered art you are into. So I put these in a lot of my junk journals. And these are just really gussied up tags. Clearly when you're looking at my prototypes, my examples here, hold on, I'm gonna try to get this in the camera there. See, look how big this button is. That'd be really hard to put in a junk journal, but a couple of these really make a big impact if you like a gator mouth journal, something that's really open. These are fun and textural. It really lets you play with something that you don't have to always keep tucked in your journal, because these can get a little bulky. So maybe having one or two, or having something that you can slip in and out based on how much ephemera of your own or mementos you are sticking into a journal. So this is, I'm sorry, y'all, I have a new phone and I am just not digging the way this sits on my mount. Okay, sorry. So let's look at the prototypes real quick. Now, you're like, hey, Angie, there's a strawberry theme here. There sure is, because these are a special order for somebody special. So I went ahead and just started playing with these right here. But they're still cute. You can make these in any theme or any colors or any shape. They don't even have to be like a tag like this. It could be, more like a journal strip, just a big square, however you like it. It's your stuff. You do it the way you want. So anyway, these are my prototypes. This is a standard card size. I don't know. It's like 2 something by 4 something. But that's the great thing about making your own, is you can literally make them the size that you need. So, they're all pretty much the same size. I have a template. I use my own. Let me grab a kind of like a blank one. So see, this is a blank one. It doesn't even have a hole punched in. I recycle old manila folders from my work that I'm going to throw out because they've been labeled so many times you can't even read what's at the top, or they're ripped or worn on the edges. So hey, that's the great thing about junk journaling and making your own, is that you can always use something. You don't have to buy this stuff, y'all. So this is an old manila folder. You can use whatever you want. You just want it to make sure, it's gotta be kind of sturdy, right? Okay, so this is what it starts off, just like a blank. And on the back side, I have chosen to do some of my, let me grab another one. So here, I've got 2. I put this on the back. So this is like a, altered notebook paper that I dye with walnut ink and coffee and tea, kind of like a whole, do not ask me what the recipe is, because I don't know. I just add it until it's dark enough and it sticks to the paper like I like, and then I bake it. So I make my own dyed papers too. So this is a notebook paper one. And then here's an old, same thing, kind of like graph paper. I don't think I dyed this one because I found that this particular batch of paper, when I soaked it in my mixture, it turns it a whole shade of blue. The little lines bleed. So this one I sprayed with just walnut ink and then dabbed it off. Ooh, let me give you a quick tip. Okay, so see this wad of stuff right here? You're gonna see this in some of my tags here. And let me tell you that the way I make it look like this, to be able to pull off the little pieces, is it starts, because I have nurses in my family. Thank you guys for saving me gauze when y'all open a pack and you don't use it all. So this is like a square of gauze. Sorry, let me make it look more medical. A square of gauze. And then all I do is, I spray or, put my ink on, and then I just dab it off. And after a while, I get the perfect distressed, oops, sorry, there's a piece of tag in there. It looks like that. So there's a little tip from me. So anyway, so get yourself a blank, however you like, right? And that's what these start off with. And then you'll see as I flip these over on the back side, I will glue this, but hey, you could use a blank back side, or you know, ink it or whatever. It's your journal, your tag, do whatever you want. So this is what we start off with, okay? So like I have this really cute one here, clear strawberry theme. So what we'll do is we'll glue some fabric to the top. There's the back. Ink it, whatever makes you happy. Dress the top of it up. You know, add on some, I don't know, tidbits. Like these are mulberry flowers with a brad and vintage buttons and, you know, like some leftover chipboard squares. There's some of that, you know, this stuff right here. And it pulls apart so neat. It's just such a textural thing. I've got a craft circle that I've punched out and put on the back there, and then added on like a reproduction vintage label. And then the top has got, oh, sorry, I forgot here, some twine, some hemp twine. So I tied a piece of that on the top with some distressed lace and a little bit of ribbon. Now this one, I'm not going to sew on this video because I just don't want to take it over to my sewing machine because I'll be walking around the table a million times. But so this one has stitching on it. So like, you know, like I stitched this faux label to this thing and then glued that down, right? And then this piece of vintage book page back here, this was stitched on. You can see right here, and sometimes here, let me do this. If you can like ink them up if you really like that like grungy distressed look. So I mean, like, see, it really shows up there. So anyway, so but I'm not going to stitch on this video because I just don't want to walk around the table. So here's prototype number 1. Okay, very cool. Here is number 2. So this one, also stitching. You can see around the edge on the back side there's some inking. The front, I've got another piece of, you know, just manila folder that I cut up. I mean, don't throw anything out. So I made almost like a little, I don't know, label tag thing. Anyway, and so, you know, stitched that on when I did the whole stitching around the outside. Another vintage button. There's a Repro vintage cutout. When I make things that I cut holes out of, I always save my punch holes out of. I always save my circles because, man, those things come in handy. They're the neatest little things. So that's been inked around the edge. I've got another faux label over here. 2 little heart punches from when I have leftover vintage book pages. Don't waste a thing. I'm telling you, don't waste a thing. So I punched those out. I actually used these at my son and daughter-in-law's wedding. We did these on the table as kind of a confetti effect around their centerpieces, and they were so cute. Anyway, so I punch these with all my tiny little scraps, and then I sell them by the bag in my store. So when I fill a bag, I list it. So anyway, if you're into that, those are there. But this is made out of book pages. A little bit of that twine back there. You know, this green gingham fabric. And then overlaid and tied on, I have some grungied up tulle. So, you know, like you can still see through, but it's got a real, like, you know, textural effect. And this is a great project if you like strings. You know, that's like a debate. Some people like strings, some people don't. For this project, I do, right? So you can trim them or not. All right, and then the third one, this one is, again, you know, there's our strawberry. I'm going to flip this one over. So this one has a cute little detail on the back. I punched a circle out of my tag, put something behind, and then stitched right over the top of it. That's the great thing about doing it the way you want to do it, right? Okay, so we've got this little fun summer print fabric here. I've got some really grungy tied on. I think this is an old pillowcase, to be fair. You know, do it as dirty or clean as you like. This old like label thing, I have a vintage strawberry plant print, say that fast, sewn on there, inked up. You know, it's a very sweet little card. Here's the back side. See, I save all my things. So here's my circle on the front side, which I inked up. I put, you know, that other tag was, the fabric was a strawberry print. And so I had a strawberry left over on some of the scrap fabric. So I cut that out, put that there. Another vintage button with some of my ugly, nasty gauze behind. And then on the bottom over here is a bulb clip with some little beads that match the blue and the white. So anyway, but again, I'm not going to sew on this video because I just don't want to walk around the table. So anyway, there's our third prototype. So let's do this. Okay, heck on. All right, so I'm going to take some of my blanks. I'm going to use this one. I love the way it laid there on some other paper. So, you know, clearly ink up, you know, however you like. I'm going to just do a, you know, something fast here. Let me zoom out. Let's do that. There we go. And y'all can see my messy craft table. All right. One of these days, we'll look at what's on my craft table. Okay, so this is a very not exact kind of card. So the fabric may or may not go all the way to the edge on this side here. Man, I don't like this mount. It's wiggling. I'm sorry, y'all, if the camera's wiggly. So I'm going to go ahead and ink up the edges, right? So if they show on the, you know, with the, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, see, like this right here, this fabric does not go all the way to the edge, and that's the cool part. You know, it's got like that frayed stuff, but we don't want it looking brand new. Nobody likes anything brand new, right? We want it to look old and dirty and grungy. So here is our blank, okay? All right, what did I pick out for this one? Hold on, I've got a piece of fabric. Yes, all right. I am feeling the pink. So this is just a scrap of fabric that I had left over. I'm such a fan of torn edges like this. Like, I just like it so much. And it just kind of goes with, fits my vibe, right? Now, here's another hint. If you have a clean edge because you cut it with scissors instead of tearing it, or like you had to start the tear with scissors, and anyway, you can take a piece of sandpaper, and if you will bunch up your, see, like, I don't know if you can see that tiny little edge right there. It's not very frayed. So if you will bunch up your fabric and rub it over the sandpaper, it will give you a frayed edge. See? So no fear if you are scared to tear fabric. Sandpaper is your friend. Okay. And that actually comes in handy for a lot of what I do. Okay, so I pre-tore this for time's sake. So here it looks like this, and we are gonna glue that sucker down. So what I have, in case I have not mentioned this before in any of my other videos, oops, got a little carried away there. This is Fabri-Tac. I just put it in this bottle. The Pam at the Paper Outpost, if you have never seen her stuff, she is like the guru of junk journaling. Man, I wish I could be as just like free with all my stuff as her, but I'm not. You know, she is really into the junk. All right, so when you glue Fabri-Tac down to a fabric, if it is a lightweight fabric like most of my fabrics are, always smear it first, because it will kind of show through your squiggles. So nobody wants a squiggle ruining their cool little fabric, right? Okay, so if you'll smear it on that tag first, and so it's not like in a hump, I'm sure there's a better word for that. But if, you know, like a hump, then you will have, you won't have that showing through, right? Oh, come on, play nicely. So do that. I'll do it again here on camera because this side needs a little more glue. So see how this stuff comes out in like a thick stream. I don't know if you can see it from this far away. So I just smear it with my finger and then lay it down, and it won't show through the fabric. Okay. All right. So got that. I should just leave that cap off. All right. Now, one thing I will do with my scissors, y'all, please don't make fun of my scissors. I have had these. These are from Creative Memories, the first real scrapbooking, you know, thing I can remember, and they still work. So I still use them. I probably need to get a decent pair of scissors. I mean, I have, you know, these things here, but I don't know. I just like my trusted old goodies here. All right, so I am going to trim up some of this. I don't mind the little strings hanging over. But I don't really like the chunk of fabric. But if you do, hey, that's you. So back out with our, see? Back out with our, oh gosh, this just does not want to play today. All right, hold on. Oh, it's glued to itself. Well, here we could probably, well, we can fix that later. But let's rough her up. Abuse your paper, people. Oh, that doesn't actually look half bad. All rolled up and, okay, so, you know, same paper. Go steal it from your husband like I did. And you can pull off the little strings and it frays so nicely. Look at that. Oh. All right, let's not, I mean, I guess it would be the end of the world because I do things really grungy. Okay, so we are good here. Now, one thing I will recommend before you start gluing stuff on, if you make your own blanks instead of buying your tags, at this point, you need to go ahead and punch your hole so you know what space you're working with. So, let's see, yeah. So, see, I'm kind of still stuck there, which is fine. Just, you know, pull it off, clip it off, whatever you need to do. All right, there we go. Okay, so the base of our tag is made. Again, as stated, I will not be sewing on this video. So I have pulled out from my stash of paper some things that I might want to use, right? And so I've got, you know, like a grungied up ticket, which I probably need to ink. Man, ink is a junk journaler's best friend, right? So make that thing look dirty. Don't be afraid to abuse your paper. Wad it up, right? Unwad it. Now, you could use either side. I'm going to use the side that says ticket. And then just, you know, let it pick up those, creases, right? Because that's going to be so cool. All right. And then I've got, you know, like a little, like, label thing that I sprayed again and dabbed. And then I've got some other things here that I'm going to play with and see what I like. So I usually recommend kind of having a layout in mind before you start gluing / sewing things down, right? So let's see. I'm going to pull up my sticker book. What do we want this one to say? How about... I need a theme, right? I probably should have picked that before now. So let's go with... Okay, this is pink. I'm really feeling like black. Okay, so let's go with a... I like this one. Find balance in life. So that's the sticker I'm going to use. So I kind of want to plan all of this out, right, before we start doing stuff. Let me pull my ink pad over here. So this is a piece of a book page that I probably have inked something over the top. Like I should have done that sticker on here, but I didn't because, I mean, clearly look at my mat. It's nasty. So, you know, anything like textural is super fun with these, right? So I'm going to make it look even inkier. And I could pick a different color, but black is usually my go-to. Or like the brown. Like I love the vintage photo. Usually if you have a brown and a black, you're set for almost everything. This is my very, very old Stamp It Up. Yeah, I just can't get rid of it. But I mean, like, y'all, I have other inks. Look at this. I have a whole basket full. But these are always my go-to. So if you have a black and you have a brown, you know, add to your collection as your budget sees fit. But, you know, I'd use these two the most. And black is probably what I use the most. Because everything I work with has a brown tint anyway. All right, so let's just kind of like start with a design, right? Now, like I said, I really, really love the way that it looks sewn on. But I'm not doing that for this. I can't see. I have a cool little corner punch, which I use all the time, but I think these corners are going to be too small. So I have, you know, I do buy some ephemera for like my ready-made big junk journals that are in my store. But a lot of it, y'all, God, that's expensive. So go online, find your freebies, right? And print your own. You can print them on cardstock. You know, like this one I'm trimming is on cardstock, right? Sorry, my camera, I hate this mount. I'm gonna have to do something about that. So, you know, but this one's printed on cardstock. It says Sulphur Smith Pharmacy. But you can print them on paper. There's another little thing. If you have a big old junk journal and it's gonna get really heavy and you're worried about, you know, like the weight of it pulling your journal apart, print it on paper. So, you know, that way you don't have to worry about that stuff, right? Okay, so I've got that done. I got a ticket. What else? I mean, I have like a little stamp. I don't know. That's the great thing about making your own stuff, right? You know what? I probably am going to use this, but I don't want it so big, right? So I'm going to go ahead and like trim off. This one's on paper. It's really, really lightweight. I mean, like, you know, like printer paper. It's great for layering because you don't have to worry about, you know, like if you do sew with your machine, right? If you have a sewing machine, you know that the more stuff you put on there that you're trying to sew through, the harder and, you know, it is to sew through it and the faster it dulls your needle. So this is like an old milk label, right? And I can make that sucker look vintage just with ink. I know this is my makeshift ink dauber. Y'all, some things I'll spend money on and some things I'm so cheap. I really do need to get a decent ink dauber. Okay, so here we go. So that one would be ready. I mean, I have a cigar band. I don't know. I'd have to really cut it. And this, of course, is, you know, another faux one. Don't think I spent money on a cigar band. I don't know. I think I'm going to say no to that. Okay. All right. So I've got like a ticket. Now, you know, I don't think I'm going to use this little like faux stamp either. We'll move it out of the way. Do I want to use you? I don't know. I've got two things with writing there. I think I'm going to pass on this too. It'll go back in my little stash. Okay. So, you know, like I told y'all, I save everything. So I've got this cute little circle punch, but I mean, like, do I want to? I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll put a butterfly on it. Okay. So let's anchor up just to be ready, right? Oh, you know what? Here, I'm gonna, here. And this, again, y'all, here's my little tip. So you can see I sprayed that. And I'm gonna come in here and I'm just gonna dab it up and see. I don't need a lot of ink, but it gives it this delicious old kind of, you know, look. So, okay, so I think I will, and I just pulled out 3 butterflies from my stash. So, I kind of am liking this one because of the blue to match my blue ticket. What do we think? I think that's the one. Yeah, that one kind of has some blue too. I don't know. I still like this one. Okay, so these little butterflies, let's put them back in my stash. So, you know, these are another thing. I found old vintage butterflies and just printed them out, right? You don't have to spend a lot of money like on books and things. Do I have some? 100% yes. Could I cut them out? Yes. But I mean, you know, I'm not gonna, right? I'm not gonna. Okay. Now, what did I say we were gonna do? Find balance in life. Okay. So I'm gonna peel it off. See, I've got this cute little sticker here. Hold on, I pulled off another one off screen. So let me put that back on. Okay, find balance in life. And that's a little sticker. Now I can also place this somewhere. I like the contrast of the black, right? Oh, but I could do something like find balance and then put the life over here. You know what? I think I am going to do that. Let me go ahead and cut off life. Handy little, I should have done this already. Okay, so I'm going to do something like this. Okay, I'm going to stick this where I can find it, which is on my ring light. Okay, so let's assemble. Let's assemble. And these are so easy. You can literally make these in any way, shape, or form, whatever suits you, right? Okay, so We're going to set, you know, I wonder if that's not a butterfly. That might be a colored moth. I don't know. It has a mothy look to it, right? Okay. So good thing about the Fabri-Tac is I can slide it a little bit. Okay. So I think I really am a fan of like overlapping stuff, right? So let's get a really, maybe I'll move you over a little bit. I just want to know before I start gluing stuff down in what order we're going to do it. I'm kind of a fan of this, and maybe this needs to go on top. Yeah, that's probably better. Okay, so first is this guy. And if you like these like layered tags, this is, you know, it's where you can get super, super creative. Now I could tear the edges of this tag, right? Do whatever you want. It's, I mean, you could have set it at an angle. Okay, I feel like we were doing here. Smoother down. Of course, Fabri-Tac dries super fast, so let's do this guy first. I'm doing, you know, working in layers, like a cake, like a sandwich, right? So, you know, bottom to top. Right. I do kind of want it laying over the top of that because I think this is where it's going to peek through. Alrighty, we're gonna do you next because I still have to figure out where to put the rest of the circle, and then I'm gonna add something. I'm gonna pull something from my buttons. Now my buttons are always, I always use old buttons just because I happen to be very blessed, and where I live there is within an hour a ton of antique stores, and I buy them by the jar. So I'll pull out my buttons and we'll pick a couple. Okay, tag. Okay, we're gonna do that right there. All right, lastly, oh, I got something on that. It must be something here. Okay, so let's do this one down last. Oh, somebody ordered something from my Etsy shop. I'll get your order out, ma'am. Okay, so I'm gonna do this because I really like the edge of that tag peeking down because you can see, you know, hey, that was in a layer. Okay, so let's not forget the other half of our sticker. All right, so where are we gonna put this? I knew I would be waiting. I feel like, okay, here's another tip. Just because it's a sticker does not mean it's gonna stick, y'all. There's, you know, Angie's pro tip. So I don't trust stickers. Yeah, they're fun to help, but I want to make sure that sucker is gonna stay. So I'm putting glue right there. Find balance in life. Okay, let's pull out some buttons. Now, this is my button jar. It's a big one, right? Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna, here's the lid. I'm just gonna pull out a handful and see what happens. Okay. Sometimes, like half the time, I buy these in jars. Oh my gosh, how cute are you? I don't think that's oh, it is a button. It's a square. Oh, that's so cool. Sorry, I need to set this aside for another project I'm working on. It's always, I never know what is going to be in my button jar. That one is really cool. I've never seen a square button. All right. Okay, so I need to find something that's going to have a flat back. Sometimes if I love these buttons, I can get, also stealing from my husband, a pair of like snippers and snip off the back, but I don't have time for that. So it's going to be a flat back. See, like this is, I get these cool that are sewn together. I feel like, you know, someone somewhere did that. That one's pretty cool. Can you see that? Oh, and that's, I mean, this is a glass button. It's heavy. Okay, I think we're going to use this one. Well, it's kind of big. Let's try. Oh, that one's pretty. And I can do it like that. Let's see, does that fit? Because I think I'm going to have to go with like right here. And I'd honestly like to do two. Here's a tiny little one. Those are always great for stuff like this. And sorry, I know, but I do believe in the power of threes. So let's, okay, so you're a 2, you're a 4. I try to have a little bit of variety when I put buttons down. No, that one looks too much like the other one. Oh, how about a brown one? That's cool. Will that look nice? Is it small enough? Are you small enough? Are you small enough? Yes. Okay, perfect. All right, put them back in, screw it on, because I have been known to dump my button jar all over my craft room. Let's not do that today. Okay, removing. So let's get this sucker. Oh, my glue. Come on, hang on, man. Okay, there's 1, 2. Oh, come on. Come on. Oh, I should be using my tweezers for this, but I'm not. Okay. Okay, and that's why I love Fabri-Tac. You can literally glue anything to anything. All right, there we go. All right, now, I should have given this some thought. Oh, I'll tell you what. All right, let me step over to my, let's do a tiny bit of lace on this one. Okay, so I'm gonna cut that off. This is just, you know, lace that's been distressed. Okay, so do I have any blue? Oh, I do. Would you be the right color? Nah, you're too cloudy. I save little bits of ribbon. I save, honestly, little bits of everything. Oh, this would be a cool one. Okay, so I've got some baker's twine here. You know, this one I did, you know, I did buy new, but man, if you're lucky enough to live somewhere where you get stuff like that, take advantage of it, ladies. Okay, and men, everybody can craft. Okay, and then one more thing. Let me see, because that blue, it's a real specific color of blue, isn't it? Do I have any little, oh, I don't. You know what I can do? All right, hold on. This was unplanned, unscripted. All right. Seam binding saves the day. All right, because I have that brown button there, this will look fine. So I'm going to snip off a piece of that. I don't know if you know this, but seam binding crinkles real nice. There we go, see? All right, so our last little step is to thread all this stuff through. Just save yourself the grief. Use your tweezers. Poke her through. Now, you could tie on some charms to this, like that other one that I used, a bulb syringe. You could do something like that. I mean, this, did I say bulb syringe? You can tell I have a medical background. A bulb clip, pen, whatever. I mean, like this, it's your tag. Do what you want. Okay, there we go. All right. Am I happy with everything? Oh, except for seam binding. Let's get you going. Okay. All right. Here we go. There she is. Right? Let's visit that back side again. And you know what? Hold on. Do I have any? There's my cool little, like I said, I do use other colors, just not for distressing. I mean, you know, like for my edges and things, but that's cool. Like I always seem to have leftover ink on stuff. So that gives out a little bit of texture. Here we go. And there we are. And that was pretty dang easy. I mean, it's, you know, pretty textural. You got some buttons. You can glue on beads, you know, charms, whatever you like. So anyway, this one will probably end up in my store along with some other ones that I'm going to be making. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Junk journaling does not have to be expensive. It does not have to, here, I'm going to zoom in on that a little bit. It doesn't have to cost you a lot of money. You can use whatever you have on hand. You know, just use your imagination. Scour the internet. You know, just because I sell stuff doesn't mean I'm not going to help people with how to make their own, right? Because that's how I started out. Anyway, okay. So, guys, if you liked my video, I'd love some feedback. I don't want to be one of those people that says like, subscribe, and follow, you know, but I mean, I like friends. I like crafty friends. So anyway, I'd love to hear your feedback. I hope you've enjoyed the tutorial. Everybody have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye.